Head west on East 2400 North toward North 1450 East, Hidden Hollow Drive. In 600 feet, turn left onto North 1450 East, Hidden Hollow Drive.
So good morning. Today is Saturday, October 21st, 2023. We are currently in Layton, Utah.
Take the next left onto North 1450 East, Hidden Hollow Drive.
You'll have to excuse, I have the Google Maps directions to help guide me here. But this is going to be testing my first driving video. I've been driving for, I want to say close to a month now.
Turn left onto East Antelope Drive.
Getting comfortable with it. But this morning I'm headed out to Salt Lake City. And then later on I'll be going to other places, but I think for filming purposes, I just want to test filming the Salt Lake City driving experience. And I want to see how the quality of this holder that I got off of Amazon that holds my camera on the dashboard works out. If the footage is straight, if it looks bumpy, if the audio is clear enough to hear me from when I'm behind the wheel. Good thing about this time of day, at least for now, is that the sun it hasn't risen yet, but it's just starting to get light out, which means the footage shouldn't look pitch black. And as I'm driving, it should get even clearer.
Turn left onto East Antelope Drive.
So right now I'm on East Antelope Drive. I'm going to be making a left turn here, going out to the highway.
Continue on East Antelope Drive for 1 mile.
Right now we're driving right toward the mountains. This is the first time I've driven early morning in this area, so I have to get my bearings and see where the sun actually rises. Like hopefully we're not going to be driving right into the sun, because that wouldn't be good for the video. I've driven at sunset, so I guess it should technically be around the opposite of that direction. One of the reasons I love having Google Maps as my guide, well, I can't imagine how, I know my parents and everyone else drove without Google Maps back in the day, but it just seems crazy to be able to drive without it. And it's just so helpful in keeping you aware of where to turn, especially when I'm on the highway and it's telling you which exits to take so that you're going to the right spot. But another thing I like about the Google Maps feature,
Quarter mile at the traffic circle, continue straight to stay on East Antelope Drive,
is that it tells me the current miles per hour that I'm driving. And even though if I look down at my dashboard, I can see the miles per hour there as well. It's not digital miles per hour in this particular vehicle. Got a little traffic circle here. You got to slow down the 15 miles per hour as you go through it. And a little speed bump here.
in a quarter mile, turn right onto the ramp to US 89 South.
The reading on Google Maps is digital, and they also have what the miles per hour of the current road you're on is on. Now that's not always accurate. I still have to pay attention to the signs, because sometimes on the highway it'll say 55 on Google Maps, but in reality it's 65 miles per hour that you should be going. We are going on 89 South.
Turn right onto the ramp to US 89 South, then merge onto US 89
Oops.
South.
You didn't see that. You got these two ramps right next to each other. first time, I stayed, and this was when I had the person in the driver's or passenger seat with me.
On US 89.
They were teaching me, various things, but she said, "Oh, you want to try the highway?" So it was kind of an impulse thing where I tried a little bit of the highway, but I wasn't comfortable shifting lanes yet. So when I got on the highway, I stayed in the rightmost lane.
Keep left to continue on US 89.
So then I got off probably after like 3 or 4 exits, and I did the same thing going the other direction that same day. And then the reason I didn't want to do more highway practice initially is because I still at the time wasn't comfortable shifting lanes just on regular roads, so I wanted to practice that. Now, it did not take me very long to get comfortable with it. You just have to learn the appropriate things to do, and once you do it once and you realize it worked, then it's like, oh, this is easy now. So yeah, on regular roads I learned, don't just look in your mirror, like look in your mirror for your first confirmation, and then turn around quickly and look either left or right depending on which way you're going to make sure there's no car in your blind spot. And then I don't want to say speed up a little bit, but I noticed when I first started doing it that when I was doing that process, when I turned around, I would tend to like slow down accidentally by a little bit. So then now when I do it, when I get ready to actually shift, I make sure I accelerate. And it's good to accelerate too, just because if someone else happens to be accelerating behind you, you're matching their speed. So you're not letting them get ahead of you per se. And the other thing I try to do more regularly is, just as I'm driving, peek in the mirror that's above you that looks behind your car, like in the center. Because like right now I'm on the highway and I'm looking and I see that there's absolutely no traffic at this time of day behind me, so that gives me an idea that no one's riding on top of me. Just a little extra confirmation to be aware of. I experienced the other day toward evening time my first ever rush hour traffic, and it was, I swear, it was the most boring thing ever, because it's like, God, you're on the highway where you're supposed to be getting somewhere fast, supposed to be able to drive 65 miles per hour, and yet you're stuck stopping and starting. And even when you are going, you're going like 25 to 30 miles per hour. And then, that, like I said, that constant stopping and starting. So I was like, oh, this is so boring. But it didn't feel like dangerous to me at all. Because I've heard people in the past like, oh, yeah, you don't want to drive in rush hour traffic when you're first starting. That's not good for you. In my head, I had the impression like, oh, there is extra danger to it. Maybe there is. Maybe I'll see that as I go on. But to me, it just seemed like everyone's moving at such a slow speed that it's not. I don't know. I didn't see the element of danger in that particular instance. The one thing I like about Google Maps is once you get under 2 miles of a particular exit or direction, like this highway splits into 2 different
in 2 miles,
highways.
Use the right 2 lanes to take the I-15 South, US 89 South exit towards Salt Lake City.
Yeah, so it's telling me in 2 miles, use the right 2 lanes to continue on towards Salt Lake City, Utah. Now, last week when I went to Daybreak, Utah, and I was meeting the same path, it had me stay to the left. Now, it's not that exit there. That's exit 396. Right now we are approaching Farmington, Utah. This is the home of Lagoon. Yeah, I don't know how good the footage is going to turn out. Also, the windshield quality, if it's dirty, it could cause some blurry footage. But once we get over this little hill here, toward the left would be Lagoon Amusement Park. right here, which is exit 395.
Half a mile, use the right 2 lanes to take the I-15 South, US 89 South exit towards Salt Lake City.
Yeah, exit 395 would take you to Farmington Station. It's a really nice shopping plaza for those Cleveland folks watching. I compare that to like a Crocker Park example.
Use the right 2 lanes to take
So this
the
is where we're
I-15
going
South
to
exit.
use the right 2 lanes to take 89 South.
Continue on I-15 South for 18 miles.
And then we're going to continue here for 18 miles. And then I know I really don't have to pay too much attention to Google Maps for a bit. And sometimes you get used to this. You can see like the sign here says right lane ahead ends. So that's why I know like, oh, there's 2 lanes that are entering this highway initially, but the right lane's going to end first. This is left lane that I'm in is going to continue, although I am going to want to shift over. Yeah, as you start driving in the highway more, particular highways, you learn which lanes to be in to begin with without even referencing Google Maps. It's a little bit busier on this section of the highway because this is the one where you're actually headed to Salt Lake, which will be busier on a Saturday, even though it's morning time, not a weekday. I believe the miles per hour here is 70. Started this video, that whole stretch of highway that you saw, it's like nice and wide and smooth, but for like the past 2 years they were working on that. Like it was construction and it was really only down to 1 or 2 lanes each direction, so it wasn't super heavily trafficked in that area, but it was a little bit of a tighter and slower go. So that now that all that construction's finished, it just coincides with when I'm starting to drive, so I get the luxury of doing that. Just shifting 1 lane over to the right traffic for safety reasons, because you could be the one causing an accident. And I was aware of that. It's just the first time you're getting the realization of the speed and everything happening so fast. Now there's absolutely no issue maintaining the speed limit. The thing you have to actually watch for is you don't want to go too far over the speed limit. But that's another thing you do have to judge. Like right now, I'm going 70 miles per hour, which is the speed limit. But you can see, some of the cars on the right, they're slowing down a little bit, maybe, but some of them could be approaching exits. But the ones ahead of me are either maintaining the speed or pulling away from me. So that tells you that they're going like 72, 73 miles per hour. When you read the rules of the road thing, even though you're supposed to go the speed limit, there also is a phrasing that says go like the speed of traffic around you. So theoretically, if the traffic around me is all deciding to move at 75 miles per hour for safety reasons, it's better for me to match that at times, not always. Like I'm still maintaining like just a hair over 70, but usually what happens is I accelerate so that I'm not going slower than 70, and then when I peak down every so often, if I see him going 73, I'll lay back a little to reset to 70, because I'm wanting to go 70, but when you're coasting, sometimes it picks up, or if you're going down a hill on the highway, it picks up a little bit. Skies this morning. The weather in Utah, particularly around the Salt Lake area, has been gorgeous over the past 2 weeks or so. Like every day, in the morning time it's around 50 degrees, but by the evening, early evening, late afternoon, it's low 70s. So I've been still able to wear like a t-shirt, and I bring a light jacket. But when I've been filming some of these videos, during the video itself, I'll be wearing shorts and light t-shirts. That'll start changing here about next week when it gets down to the 50s or 60s, more typical October weather. I know back in Cleveland, I've been monitoring the weather, and it seems like it's been in the 50s, high 50s for the past couple of weeks, so that's more traditional October weather. Salt Lake Airport, you would take exit 313 there, and then starts curving you toward the right. The airport it's like close to Salt Lake in terms of if you're making like a straight line, but it does veer off away from it, if that makes sense. Again, if I was in Cleveland, I would know to say, oh, it's north, south, east, west. I'm used to it. Here, I still have no real concept of directions. I'm trying to think. I know Layton on a U.S. map would be above Salt Lake, 30-minute drive above it. So I guess Layton would be the north. If I'm going to Salt Lake, that would be headed south. So I guess this would be south, and if it was headed toward the airport, that would be toward the west coast. So I guess that would be west. So I'll have to take the next exit or something.
In half a mile, use the right lane to keep right at the fork. Continue on exits 305A, 305B, and follow signs for West Valley, U.201 West. Use the right lane to keep right at the fork and continue on exits 305A, 305B. Keep right to continue on exit 305B. In a quarter mile, use the left lane to turn left onto U.201 East.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sure an experienced driver still would have made that, but when I'm
Use the left
staring
lane
for
to turn left onto U.201 East.
when I'm staring for exit 305A and then I see C on the left, maybe Google Maps told me, but it was kind of like bang bang, and I'm still looking for A. That's where I wish Google Maps would have said 305C, because then I would have been aware of it.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto the I-15 North, I-80 West rim.
They're going to make us turn back on the highway here. I'm going to actually change that, because I can just take city streets and it'll be pretty much
Turn left onto the I-15 North rim.
the same thing.
Continue for 3/4 of a mile. In 500 feet, use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto 300 West. Use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto 300 West.
And this is nice too, because you get to see, well, granted, it's not like you can see downtown buildings from here, but at least you're seeing some city roads to mix things up.
Continue on 300 West for 3/4 of a mile.
So the video will be ending pretty soon, unless I decide to continue and do more driving, like after I'm done at this next destination. I might do that, I don't know, we'll see. I'll do a final sign off if I am actually signing off. But I'm making one pit stop, and then the rest of the day I plan on doing several Halloween related videos. One of them is in downtown, near downtown Salt Lake. That's the guy who had the big Frankenstein this year. He's got a Scooby-Doo thing this year. Then I've got a few Halloween houses mapped out. I just have to think about the order in which I'm going to go to each of them. But those will be more south.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Hope Avenue.
Quarter mile, turn left on the Hope Avenue. I know there should be a Walmart coming up here. Walmart's probably
Turn left onto Hope Avenue.
towards the left. I guess this is Hope Avenue, and even though it says 1400 South.
In 800 feet, turn left onto South 400 West.
There's the Walmart I was referencing.
Take the next left onto South 400 West, then your destination will be on the right.
I'm going to pause the video for the moment, and then I'll try to resume it a little later. Alright, so let's continue our driving vlog a little bit here. I'm pretty much where you last saw me. Like, when you saw that stop sign, I stopped and I turned right and just parked right here. But now I will This should only be, according to Google Maps, about an 8-minute drive. We're going to be going to Ammon Smith's Halloween house. That was what I said earlier. The guy who did the massive Frankenstein
600
last
feet,
year.
turn right onto 1300 South, West 13th South.
But this year he has a big Scooby-Doo theme. We're going up and turning right on 1300 South.
Turn right onto 1300 South, West 13th South. Continue on 1300 South for 1 mile.
We just passed one of the railroad lines. Like you can take the red tracks line down to either downtown Salt Lake or goes all the way out to Daybreak. On our right is the home of the Salt Lake City Bees, their AAA affiliate. They are actually, I think next year is going to be their last season in Salt Lake City in this area. They're going to move to Daybreak, that ever-growing community. I'm not sure exactly where the stadium is at Daybreak, but I assume it'd have to be under construction already. So that'll be a little bit of a loss for sports teams in the Salt Lake area. They'll still have their Utah Jazz and soccer. Probably ideally, I'd rather not be driving behind this big vehicle that has cars loaded onto it. I still try to stay in the left, like the center or left lane, because you never quite know if some of these will ever turn into right-only lanes. Got that sun right to the right side of the camera view. going to park here because that Halloween house is just up ahead. Just finished seeing that Halloween house. Maybe you can get a peek at it on the right, but I have like a full 3 to 4 minute video
right
that I
onto
shot.
1700 South.
Now I'm going to continue heading a little bit southbound to Midvale.
Turn right onto 1700 South.
And that's just a pit stop to see another Halloween house. They're supposed to have an Alien, the movie Alien theme from like the 80s.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto South 700 East.
I thought that would be a unique one, and it's on the way to where I'm trying to go, which is near the Lehigh, Utah area by Thanksgiving Point.
Turn left onto South 700 East. Continue on South 700 East for 5 miles.
Right now when I'm looking at the footage, I feel like I see a little bit of sun glare coming off the left side here in the video. I don't even know if that's, it might not be, because the camera's really not pointing to the sun, but I think it's like a reflection off of the windshield that's causing a little glare on that left side. But you know, when I'm in the middle of the driving, I can't really make adjustments. So we'll just deal with that. Again, these are the type of things for my first driving video that I'm trying to observe when I watch the footage back to see if I can improve upon it in the future. Because sometimes I'd like to drive, like maybe not even have a purpose, but just drive around the downtown Salt Lake area, for example. Alright, looks like I'm going to stay in this lane. And then when I get back to Northeast Ohio, I can shoot a lot of videos there because I have the familiarity aspect. But that won't deter me from doing my bike riding videos, which I still very much enjoy, and there's like a slower pace and you get to actually digest things a little more. But I think there's an added niche for driving videos, and it's one of those things where I'm going, like today I'm making a day of doing a bunch of different Halloween related videos. So I shot one there, I'm going to be shooting the second one at this alien house, and I have like possibly 3 more in mind. They'll be shorter videos except for one of them. So this driving video is kind of on the way, and I would have never been able to shoot so many Halloween things in a short amount of time if I was biking per se. I could use public transit, and I did do that before, public transit and biking, but you know, it gets to be doing it there is not the issue. It's that when you're all wrapped up and you have to come all the way back, then it's more of a drag. Exactly I'll work it out, but I have ideas in the future too of having like a multi-cam setup where I have one camera pointed like it is now going out the window, but then another cam showing either me or showing stuff behind me or maybe to the side, and then like merging those clips together. And I have some ideas where if I do vlogs and I'm not showing like an entire drive, I'm just showing bits and pieces, there's some advantages. But that's, again, down the road. That's another reason this is an experimental driving video. I know when I keep looking at the viewfinder, though, on my camera, that sun glare on that left edge is really bugging me. Like, ah, God, that would annoy me to watch that on the video. By the way, I could have taken the highway to get to this place. It was an 18-minute drive on this road, or a 14-minute drive on the highway. So I just figured I'm going to be driving the highway later after I visit this place. So for 4 minutes difference, I don't want to get on the ramp and get off the ramp for a shorter stretch. It's not that big of a time difference. Okay, I think this road is curving to the left. Might need to get over to the right lane pretty soon. But I don't like shifting lanes while I'm
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Utah 71 South, South 900 East.
Alright, it's not this light. It's the next.
Turn right onto Utah 71 South, South 900 East.
that's another thing. I'll see whether the quality of the video is good enough. Yeah, this is where we're making a right-hand turn.
Take the next right onto East 6600 South, East Winchester Street. In a quarter mile, turn left onto South 700 East, South 725 East.
On the left at this light.
Take the next left onto South 700 East, South 725 East. In 1,000 feet, turn right onto East 6770 South. Turn right onto East 6770 South.
Welcome to Midvale. So I guess this is the border of where the city of
In a quarter
Midvale
mile,
starts.
turn left onto South 500 East.
Alright, we should be getting close. 2 minutes away. Oh, not super close. I mean, we're close, but I was starting to look left and right, but I gotta go about a couple more streets.
Turn left onto South 500 East, then turn right onto East 6815 South.
So, left turn here.
Take the next right onto East 6815 South.
Kinda got like a speed bump.
In 1,000 feet, turn right onto South 300 East.
One pet peeve of mine for drivers when I have stuff loose on the ground, like my water bottle is on the ground by the passenger seat, and it's like a canister, and I just hear it rolling. So I'm gonna make sure I secure that. 'Cause when I hear that, it's just like an OCD thing. I'm like, God.
Turn right onto South 300 East, then turn left onto 6790 South. Take the next left onto 6790 South, then your destination will be on the left.
Okay, this should be the street for it. Oh, this is it on the left.
Your destination is on the left.
Alright, yeah, that looks badass. Okay, I am going to... I think there's parking allowed on this street. I don't know. I'm always unclear when there's things like this, but we'll park temporarily here. And I'll get ready to film that quickly. Alright, I think that gives me enough footage to work with for my first driving video, and I'll see how it goes. And feel free to let me know if you guys enjoyed it too. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you next time.